As we start the year, brainstorming and action planning on how to keep your employees engaged are for sure in your calendar's agenda. So, to help you further, Great Place to Work Philippines has invited Andrew Dingcong, a seasoned BPO professional with 20 years of experience in various business disciplines, an industry speaker, consultant, and now the country manager of CarParts.com Philippines, a Great Place to Work certified company, to share their employer branding journey. Hi, Drew.
Thank you, Karissa. It's been my absolute pleasure to be with you here.
Oh, no, it is my pleasure. Thank you for taking time to speak to me, and we're so excited to learn from you today. Now, Drew, I learned that you are the first Filipino in 13 years to lead CarParts.com's shared services in the Philippines. Was this something that you expected?
To be honest, when they called me for the job, my focus was really how can I make a difference in this company. Learning that was post my contract signing. Because you started to ask questions, right? And when I learned about that information, I mean, I was just so proud because I like to think of myself as someone who's a proponent of Filipinos, and being someone at the helm of this global company just makes me proud to be a Filipino.
Drew, with CarParts.com being a leader in the e-commerce auto market, having created a people-first culture, as a country manager, how do you manage diversity, inclusion, and belongingness in the workplace?
Oh, we are no stranger to a very diverse workforce. And in fact, what I can share with you is that our executive team in the US is actually multicultural. They come from different descent, from Europe, from Asia, from America. So that's what the composition, our executive team there. So with that, it kind of leads for us to really have a strong belief or value the belief and preferences of our employees so that they can be who they want to be without any prejudices and discrimination. To connect with that, we establish programs, educate our employees to recognize that different is actually good. And that became the basis of our policies. Case in point, we constructed a new office at the height of the pandemic in 2020. We made sure that we had a gender neutral washroom for our LGBTQ community. And other than that, from a benefit standpoint, we also allowed domestic partner to be enrolled in our HMO program. So for us, employment and career advancement is protected with policies to ensure that people get hired or promoted because they are best fit for the position, not because of any reason like gender preference or religion.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I like that you do not just implement policies, but you also educate your employees as to why you have these policies. Because it's true, the more you make your employees realize this, these policies will be easily reinforced. True, I know creating all these policies take a lot of effort. Why bother to create a great place to work experience for your employees?
For us, nothing is really more important than our employees. And I'm truly grateful since they continue to choose us to be their employer. And because of that, the focus is really to make sure that their stay is something worth their while. Time is very valuable, right? So for us, that's really the driving reason why we want for them to have a great experience within the company. Same reason why we are heavily invested in creating a culture that makes our employees feel valued and empowered so they can be the best versions of themselves in their workplace and also in their personal life. For us, that's really what a great workplace experience is all about.
Actually, what you said is the essence of being a people first organization. Realizing that once you start taking care of your people will take care of your business. Through being
Absolutely.
a great place to work certified company, what are your best practices in sustaining a high trust workplace culture?
When you talk about high trust, we establish that by being consistent, being transparent, inclusive. But I guess what really made a difference is having an easy to understand, easily remember, relatable purpose on why we do things. For us, it's all about our mantra. And we even created a hashtag for this, the why we exist, which we established back 2019. So we called it hashtag enabling journeys. This simply means that in everything that we do, we are relentless to strive to enable the journeys of our customers because they're the reason why we profit as an organization, the community, because we're more than an organization that employs people, but we also want to be impactful in the society. And lastly, for employees, this hashtag enabling journeys is really the embodiment of who we are and what we want to achieve as a company. As a result, our employees know, they realize that we are genuinely committed to this purpose and became the foundation of our trust with each other. So it's not just them trusting us, but us trusting them.
Beautiful. You know what? Why? Like all of us need to know what is our why. And I like that you mentioned that. So, Drew, out of curiosity, have you experienced any benefits to being a certified great place to work company?
Absolutely. The sense of pride that this created to my employees was tremendous. They celebrated and shared with their family and friends, even trended in social media for a while, Facebook and in LinkedIn. They were just sharing it. It became organic. I truly love how they interpret how we won. They would add their own line on why they feel that we won the awards. For me, it's probably one of the proudest moments in my career. And our employees also felt because it's organic. From a recruitment standpoint, we got significant increase in job interest, people asking who we are, how they can join. So it's really, really encouraging.
Well, for those of you who are watching, for a company to be a great place to work certified, we validate the employee experience of the companies. May I share that 90% of the employees of carparts.com say that this is a great place to work? You must be very, very proud.
I am. But I think really best represents them, not me or anyone else. It's really them, the employees, validated what we have been doing all this time. It's really good to have that. But the recognition is actually for them. We call our employees citizens. So it's really for my citizens.
That's very nice to hear and very humble, actually. So, Drew, having that experience of successfully holding an executive post for close to a decade, what are the key learnings that you can share with other leaders who aspire to create a great place to work for their employees, just like carparts.com?
What worked for us, as I've mentioned earlier, is the genuine purpose to enable the journeys of the people that we interact with. So I say people because that touches the pillars of our customers, the community, and our employees. With this guiding principle, it helped us probably in the most difficult of times, right? Imagine we got this recognition during the pandemic. With many people working from home, the face to face interaction has been limited. But that didn't stop us to become even more personal in our dealings and create activities that connected us like never before. One of the best examples that I can share is our monthly podcast, where we celebrate our performance and showcase the skills and talent of our employee. So, and we also tend to over communicate a lot, by the way. So the podcast was just one of the avenue where we thought that we can reach our employees. And every time we host a podcast, I have about 100 to 200 people tuning in, and some of them just watch the recording after. Apart from that, we are also obsessed in finding out what our employees are passionate about in their life. And we support them as much as we can. As an example, I'm quite lucky to be in a company where a lot of employees wanted to do more, create impact in our society. With that knowledge, we came up with meaningful corporate social responsibility activities that they can get involved. An example of that is we joined tree planting activities. We gave free rides to our nurses during the time that we were in lockdown. And we also partnered with orphanages to help them during this time. So those are just the examples that I think fulfills our employees who are passionate about helping people in the society. I've spoke about passion and some of us have writer in us. Those employees who love to write, I got them involved in our newsletter. We created our first newsletter in the Philippines, and through time, it became global. So those people who got involved there, imagine they're writing now for the whole company. Who's not going to be fulfilled with that, right? So I mean, the things that I mentioned, it kind of defines who we are as a company, people who work here. And that just goes beyond the paycheck, right? And they too become an inspiration to the rest that, they can do more if they wanted to. And I think lastly, I spoke about empowerment earlier. And for us to create great place to work culture, it's a shared responsibility of everyone. Our ask from our employees is that you can influence our culture and you can create culture that you want to stay and be fulfilled. I'm glad we genuinely get from our employees. I'm just really thankful and proud of our citizens. Like I've mentioned, this recognition is really for them, not just any person in this company.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. I really like that you're very empowering. I sense it, that you're very supportive. And now I have a full grasp of why carparts.com is a great place to work certified because it all starts with the leader. And speaking to you right now, it just reflects on your initiatives on why 90% of your employees say that you are a great place to work certified. If you want to learn more about carparts.com, please visit our website, www.greatplacetowork.com.ph. So thank you and catch up with you again soon.